Good evening everyone and welcome to Gundam News. And this week we've got quite a few headlines to talk about. So let's start with the newest Gundam anime, video game, movie hybrid thing. That was released on the 4th, Gundam Silver Phantom. The reception seems to be overall positive, but it is of course unfortunate that it is locked behind a 3D headset. So I'll have to wait before I can experience the entire thing myself. What I could enjoy were the announcements that were made alongside it. Last week, I mentioned how Silver Phantom was kinda unique in the sense that it was a Gundam anime, in a kind of loose sense, that was going to launch without any model kit announcements. Like, even G Savior got a model kit. And fortunately for the fans of the Delta Zayin, shortly after my video went live, the high-grade Delta Zayin was announced. More information will be given at a later date, but considering the fact that this announcement was posted on the Premium Bandai website, it is all but certain that it is going to be a Premium Bandai Limited kit. A real shame, because otherwise I would have bought this thing in a heartbeat. And we also got some more mobile suit profiles for the mobile suits that will be appearing in the movie, including the Vanilla Zaku 2 and the Vanilla Jim that were somehow still flying around in UC 0096. And I'm sorry, but we are getting some of the stupidest explanations that I've ever seen as to why these things are still flying around and why they're still kicking ass. The internals of both of these machines have been overhauled and modernized to the point that their performance is comparable to the Gyaradoga and the Jagan respectively. I can accept that you're going to modernize a Zaku 2 and a Jim, and that their performance will therefore be higher, but if you're then going to claim that these modernizations put them on the same level as some of the highest performing machines of the time, you went too far. Like, why not just claim that the Zaku 2 was upgraded with parts from the Hyzak, and that the Jim was upgraded with parts of the Jim 2, and that therefore their performance was roughly equivalent to those, but then say that they were able to compete with Gyaradogas and Jagans because their pilots were just so good. But anyways, next up, we got a lot of information for the upcoming Gundam TCG. It'll get a worldwide release in 2025 in Japanese, English, and simplified Chinese, but you can already play it this year on December the 7th if you can get your hands on the limited box edition beta. It comes with 16 version beta booster packs, which contain 9 cards each, 56 pre-assorted cards, 1 legendary rare card, 2 playing mats that also have the rules on them, and 6 damage counter dice. So basically everything that you need to immediately start playing with 2 people. The only problem though is going to be getting your hands on this set. There's a small amount sold through Premium Bandai, which from what I've heard sold out immediately, or you'll have to participate at an event. You can either go to one of the Bandai Card Game Fest events, or if you're lucky, you live nearby a participating Bandai TCG Plus store, which can then hold its own trial event where you can get those boxes. Now, I'm not going to go over all of the rules here because there's frankly just much better channels for that out there, but I will say that the art for the cards looks absolutely phenomenal. From what we've been shown, it is all high quality and brand new artwork. And we also have like a very interesting selection and variety of art styles. Amuro is reminiscent of a 90s OVA, the Falma looks like old school box art, Lacus is very shiny and bubbly, Suletta has that painting feel, and Benager looks different. So let's see what becomes of this very interesting looking card game. And our third headline then is that the Advance of Zeta section from the Dengeki Hobby website is finally back online. As you might remember, earlier in the year, the entire website was taken offline after a cyber attack. And it took a lot of time to get parts of the website back online. But now Advance of Zeta is finally back, and they're back with System Weapon 1, which is an overview of just how modular the Gundam Mark II's beam rifle is, and how it eventually evolved into the beam rifle that was used by the Jagan A-Type. On to the remaining Gunpla news then, because the high-grade Delta Zayin wasn't the only limited kit that got announced this week. Also over at Premium Bandai, pre-orders have begun for the Master Grade Gundam Astraea plus Proto GN Twin Broadblade. It can be yours in January for 7,150 yen, 48 US, and the main attraction of this kit is of course that Proto GN Twin Broadblade. It can be connected with the GN Long Blade and the GN Short Blade, or if you don't feel like using it, you can also store it on the legs, which is a Master Grade exclusive feature. And in addition to that, it also comes with the Proto GN Sword, Proto GN Launcher, GN Beam Rifle, Proto GN Shield, Standard GN Shield, 2 GN Beam Sabers with 4 Beam Blade effect parts, a set of waterside decals, and an action base. And alongside this, they also announced restocks of the Master Grade Avalanche Exia Dash, Master Grade Astraea Type F full weapon set, and High Grade GN Arms Type E real color version. All of course Premium Bandai Limited. And from the Gundam base then, on the 12th, we are getting the High Grade Gundam FSD with Prototype Long Range Beam Rifle for 2,860 yen, 19 US. As the name suggests, the big attraction here is that long-range beam rifle, which also comes with some cool extras. When not in use, it can be stored on the back, and you can also replicate the famous pose of the ground Gundam with its cannon, by having the long-range beam rifle resting on a ground-type shield. For the figure news then, we got all of the information for the Gundam Girls' Generation Christina Mackenzie Into the Sky figure. Pre-orders went live on the 4th for 23,100 yen, 155 US, and while she isn't a Premium Bandai Limited, she is unfortunately limited to certain stores, being Ami, Digitamin, Volks, Yellow Submarine, and of course, Premium Bandai. And as some of you pointed out last week, I was correct in saying that the figure had some very strong Haruhiko Mikimoto vibes, because the figure is literally based on the cover of one of his art books, also called Into the Sky. I now want that art book, but unfortunately the aftermarket prices are quite high. And for the people who want the figure, she is slated for a March release. And alongside her, they also announced a resale of the Lacus Cline 20th Anniversary Gem Series figure. Again, she's not Premium Bandai Limited, but you can only get her from certain stores, being Ami, Animate, Yellow Submarine, Volks, Digitamin, and again, Premium Bandai. So good luck for those outside of Japan. And then still somewhat figure related are these Witch from Mercury V point card things. While you can only get the point card in Japan, the accessories are available through stores like Hobbling Japan, so I'll have that linked down below. For 1,540 yen, 10 US, there's a Soletta Mirine or Ariel card case, and for 2,530 yen, 17 US, there's an acrylic card stand with those same designs. And inside, you can put a card of maximum 54.3 millimeters by 95.24 millimeters, which is the size of things like IC cards, credit cards, and some trading cards. Last week then, someone asked if Bandai was going to do something for the 10th anniversary of Reconquista in G. And well, they're not going to do nothing. First up, there was this very nice commemorative illustration. Next up, they'll have the Reconquista in G 10th anniversary event in the Shinjuku Piccadilly Cinema, where they'll show all 5 compilation movies. More information like where to get the tickets coming later. And they'll also be releasing some new things. On October the 26th, you can get the high-grade Gundam-based limited G-Self Perfect Pack Reconquista in G, the movie version. It'll go for 3,850 yen, 26 US, making it quite a bit more expensive than the standard version, but it is quite a different thing because the head, the chest, the shoulders, and the joints have been made to be more expressive. Like, just look at how giant those eyes are, especially compared to the old version. Another change is that you're now getting a movable action base instead of the cheaper static one. So if you're a fan of the new look, this is definitely an upgrade worth getting. And on the same day, you'll also be able to get a reprint of the Gundam G-Self face mug. It goes for 1,760 yen, 12 US, and is limited to the Gundam base Tokyo and the Gundam base Fukuoka. But if you want to get really fancy, they also announced the Metal Robot Spirit Side MS G-Self Perfect Pack. And I think those are the biggest eyes I've ever seen on a non-SD Gundam. And it feels kind of unsettling, like it's staring into my soul or something. More details will be unveiled at a later date, but it promises to have die-cast parts, fancy coloring, detailed weaponry, and even some transformation gimmicks. And finally, in late January, the Cosmo Fleet Special Megafauna RE will be releasing for 9,900 yen, 67 US. And by now, I'm sure you all know the drill. The RE figures are more expensive re-releases, but come with extra weathering and a set of water slide decals. And it of course also still comes with all of the accessories and the gimmicks of the original release. Things like moving cranes, opening hangars, and 6-in scale mobile suits. Meanwhile, on the gaming front then, in Gundam Battle Operation 2 for the PlayStation, the Cannon Gan has joined the fray, while on Steam you can suit up with the Rairu Raw 2. In UC Engage, they got a new Battle Rush event, they're celebrating Dom Day with a special login bonus, and they also got an interesting combination for their latest event unit assembly. Usually, it's a unit with its pilot, but now it is the UR Hazel Custom and the UR Titans version of Reco 10th. I guess it might have something to do with the copyright to Advance of Zeta, as in maybe they can only use the mobile suits and not the pilots, but who knows. But what I do know is that in Gundam Arsenal Base, they've got the Unitribe Summer Festival 2024 again. It lasts from the 4th to the 21st, and there are some really cool summary cards to collect. 9 regular cards and 4 secret parallel cards. And finally, there's a Bandai Namco sale going on at the PlayStation Store and the Nintendo eShop. In other news then, on October the 12th and the 13th, Gundam will have a collaboration with the Oita Space Hike 2024. The Gachapon Culture Festival 2024 will be held in Ikebukuro Sunshine City from November the 1st until the 3rd, and will of course include a lot of Gundam Gachapons, and the Tokyo Gundam Festival has begun at the Diver City Tokyo Plaza in Odaiba. It began on the 5th and will run until December the 8th with a variety of activities. There will be guided tours in English provided by volunteer high school students, there's a Gundam Cafe food truck, and there will even be performances like cheerleading, taiko drums, calligraphy, and martial arts. But do keep in mind that if you want to see these things, they're not every day. I will have the official website linked down below so you can see when is what. As for the things you could get this week then, from the 4th, you could get this Glitter and Glamours Lunamaria Hawk figure from Japanese arcades. Yesterday, the Game Girl album from Higuchi Kaide was released, and it includes all 3 opening themes for mass production type Reco. And if you want to listen to it, I'll also have the promotional medley linked down below. Not only does it sound really good, but it also has some really charming 8-bit graphics, because, you know, the title Game Girl is a play on Game Boy. And then just today, the best Mecha Collection 144 scale RX-78-2 Gundam Revival version has been released for 1,320 yen, 9 US. A very charming rendition of the very first Gunpla ever released, but now remade with current Gunpla technology. I think it's a very nice collectible, and I wonder how far they're going to go with this. Like, I'm sure they'll also make the Char Zaku to go along with it, but what happens after that? And for this week's reading material, there was the November 2024 issue of New Type, featuring a very Halloween-inspired section, at least in the name. A discussion between the screenwriters for Witch from Mercury and the upcoming Maebashi Witches. And then we also got the first chapter of G Gundam Gaiden's second volume, in which we get to see the original Schwartz Brooder in action. I'll have it linked down below, but of course keep in mind that it is only in Japanese. As for this week's apparel news then, Bankorek kicked things off on the 4th with pre-orders for another Kira Dialogue acrylic stand. For 2,200 yen, 15 US, you can now get Kira with the Mighty Strike Freedom, saying that he chooses his own future, which can be yours in November. Then on the 7th, pre-orders began for the Haro Kids collection. For 4,180 yen, 28 US, you can get a Haro-styled backpack in OG Green, Gundam Seed Pink, or Gundam 00 Orange, or for 3,080 yen, 21 US, you can also get a Haro hat in Gundam 00 Orange, all of which are slated for a December release. One day later then, pre-orders went up for some cool OG Gundam Glow in the Dark t-shirts. They go for 4,180 yen each, 28 US, they're shipping out in January, and the available designs are white with The Last Shooting, black with Vote to Attack, and blue with Tragedy in Jaburo. It truly was tragic seeing that Jim being gored by Char. And finally today, you could pre-order a Char Zaku tissue box cover for 7,150 yen, 48 US. It is slated for a March release and will make you blow your nose 3 times faster. Over at Strict G, meanwhile, it was all about the jackets. For 42,900 yen, 289 US, you can get this really fancy jacket that is inspired by either Amuro and Federation or Char and Zeon. Or for 18,700 yen, 126 US, you can get a Gundam 00 inspired Windbreaker. There's Setsuna Blue, Lock-On Green, Alleluia Orange, Tiaria Purple, or Mr. Bushido Green, which is more of a bluish gray, judging by the pictures. They're all currently up for pre-order, but will also be available at physical Strict G stores starting November 19th. And then just in today are the pre-orders for these Gundam Aurora down jackets. That will be in physical Strict G stores on November the 2nd. For 68,200 yen, 458 US, you can either score yourself a white one themed after the white base, or a khaki one styled after the Falmo. And as always, let's quickly wrap things up with the polls. A few weeks ago, Bandai wanted to know which moldable suit we're looking forward to seeing the most in Silver Phantom. The Del Design, Yacht Wise, Rigazi Argent Keel Custom, or the Zissa Joff Custom. And the outcome was pretty unanimous, with 41.4% voting for the Delta design. It's the main machine, it looks badass, and that color scheme makes it look even better. And I also really feel like that silver adds a bit to the mystique of the mobile suit. In second place then, we have the Rigazi with 27.6%, which had somewhat of a close call with the Yacht Wise, which got 21%. But I can definitely see why people would be looking forward to seeing the Rigazi, because it didn't really get a chance to shine in Char's counterattack, and when it appeared in Gundam Unicorn, it was just kinda there. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if quite a few people didn't even realize that it was in Gundam Unicorn. So, what is it going to do this time around? Or how is it going to perform this time around? And then in last place, with only 10%, we have the Zissa. But still not too bad of a result for a relatively obscure machine, which is going up against things like the Yacht-Wise and the Delta Zayin. As for the currently ongoing poll then, because we have entered the fall season, Gundam.info wants to know which Gundam dish we would love to eat now. The soup from Kukuruzawan's Island, the steak from Hathaway's Flash, the ramen with a bunch of toppings from Witch from Mercury, or Shin's buffet plate, which consists of chicken rice, fried chicken, and french fries, which is of course from Gundam Seed Freedom. And the first thing I'm gonna say is that it makes me sad that the Gundam Cafe is no longer around, because in the past, the winner of this poll, or a poll like this, might have actually become a real dish at the Gundam Cafe. But alas. As for my choice then, I found it really hard to choose because a lot of these look really good. Actually, I was most sure of which one that I wasn't gonna go for. The Witch from Mercury ramen, because it's just a bit too much going on there. A steak then is always good, and the same goes for chicken rice, fried chicken, and french fries. But then there was also the soup, which kind of looks like tomato soup with like meatballs in it. And I really link a dish like that to like fall, winter, like cold days to really get you heated up. So because the poll was asking about fall, I voted once for the soup and once for the rice. But it seems like not a lot of people are agreeing with me on the soup, because on both Twitter and Gundam.info, it is dead last. As for the other three dishes then, they're basically in a three-way battle for first place when you combine both of the polls together, which is something that we don't see a lot. But if you want to cast your vote, I'll of course have the links down below. And that has been all for this week's Gundam news. I'm hungry now. As always, a big thank you to the Patreon supporters. I hope everyone watching has a great evening, and I'll see you all next week with more Gundam news.